Hey everybody, I hope you've had a great week and welcome to the third episode of the Christianese podcast. Hi, I'm April, a Christian lesbian.
And I'm Casey, a party girl turned spiritual junkie.
And we're here to break down the language of Christianese with an open and curious mind in an effort to find and shine a light on the truth.
So leave any judgment or preconceived notions aside and let's explore.
So I just got back from an amazing trip in Greece, but unfortunately Casey and I were not able to record an episode for this week's podcast. But I want to invite you to listen to an interview where Casey asked me questions about separating out my spirituality from my sexuality. I think this conversation was actually the birthing of this podcast, so I hope you enjoy.
Okay, so, all right, let's start a little high level that if, kind of your 2-minute elevator spiel or whatever, like, who are you? Give the first, like, I'm April and I'm blah, 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 blah.
I'm April and I'm happy.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay.
I'm happy. I feel like I'm just now living again, so to speak, kind of like, I feel like I've been frozen for a little bit. Some of the qualities that I used to have maybe when I was growing up, like loving to laugh, just being outgoing, talking to anybody, that sort of thing. And that was shut down for a little bit. And now I feel like I'm finding that again. So I definitely feel like I'm still in process, but I'm happy and I'm at peace. And I can honestly say for the first time that I feel this kind of peace.
Okay. Yeah. So what are, say, 3 ways you would define yourself?
3 ways I would define myself. I'm very caring. I care about people a lot. I love to have fun, and I'm a deep thinker.
Okay. All right. So in terms of your story,
yep.
We're just gonna dive right in.
Come on.
Okay.
Oh God. So, I take it back. I don't know.
Yeah, get vulnerable. All right. So take us back to like the very first moment, and I don't know how young you were, but that moment that maybe sticks out in your mind that you realized internally that you were attracted to women, and like where were you? How were you feeling when you figured that out? Like what was your first thought? Like what was that moment for you?
That was in high school, and I remember being like never having experienced any sort of connection like that. I need to put this on cruise because that question made me go from like 70 to 85. All right, so hold on. Cruise control in effect.
Okay.
So I was in high school, and the first time that I actually really remember it was I was really close friends with a girl from a different school, and we went to church together, and so she and I were like connected at the hip. I don't think that she ever felt that way towards me. We never talked about it, but I just remember feeling like super close to her, and probably a little closer than I should, so to speak. So that was
okay. So, but how did you know it was like should versus shouldn't? Like, what were your thoughts or your feelings, or like what was that
happened?
Trigger point that you were like, whoa, that's maybe a thought I'm not supposed to have per my church going?
I just remember that we were like on a camping trip with my family, and we were sitting in the camper. She had her legs on me, and she was moving her toes, and it just like rubbing my skin, and it like gave me butterflies, like attraction type butterflies, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Okay, so you realize that's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then what are your subsequent thoughts?
Don't think about that and get up.
Okay.
Because I just knew from growing up in church that like you don't feel that way.
Right. Okay, so we're going to get to the church stuff in a minute. But did you tell anyone?
No.
When is the next time you even allowed that thought to surface in your own head again? Or was it something that then couldn't be quieted?
No, I definitely didn't like entertain that thought. I I just continued. Oh, and she would like grab my face and like kiss my face and just be silly,
Yeah, like girls,
girlfriends. Yeah, not girlfriends.
Well, yeah.
Just to be clear.
Yeah.
But I just remember loving that. I just loved the affection side of the friendship, you know, and but I never really allowed myself to think any more about it by any means. So probably the next time that happened was I was playing basketball in high school, and we had an assistant coach that was helping out. She was still in college. It was her senior year in college, so but she was like 4 years older than me. Yes, people from Walhalla, you know who this is. Well, it's just kind of odd, you know, like they're hearing this, they're like,
Yep.
oh God, it's true. It's true.
So it's true.
It's true. But like, I just remember having like wanting to be around her a lot, like way more than other people. She just stuck out in my head. And then nothing ever happened in high school. Like nothing.
Right. But why
we never
didn't you
connected
tell
with
anyone?
Oh, I was super embarrassed. Like I felt a lot of shame, shame.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why did you feel shame?
Because there's right and wrong, and that fell in the wrong category. And
Per who? Like who told you that was wrong?
I learned that in church.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you grew up in church.
Oh yeah. Every time the doors were open.
Okay. So I grew up Catholic, and like we went to church on Sunday, and I went to Catholic school. But I feel like the way you talk about it, that's different than my, say, Catholic upbringing. So when you say like I grew up in church, what exactly does that mean?
Church was my community. It was everything. I mean, that's where most of I had friends in high school, like from sports and stuff, but I would say like I definitely had a super close community of friends from church. So, I mean.
And like, were there like, do you do Bible studies together? Like, if there's ongoing church activities other than church on Sunday?
For sure, yeah.
Okay.
We had a teen choir, so we would have choir practice during the week, and I played in the band. Had band practice, like, and we did competitions together, so we'd travel as like a youth group, and there was always youth group activities. So then, you know, and then our parents would have prayer cells, so like when the adults would have Bible study, then all of the kids would go and like play. But yeah, I would say like my activities in life were sports and church, and like those two things. So, and we would take family vacations and stuff. But.
Right. So what was, of all the church messages, let's start positive. What was the one you connected with the most? That made you feel like, yes, this is my community, this is something I connect with, this is something I belong to, and I find safety or peace or whatever.
Yeah. Love, for sure.
Okay.
There was a lot of talk about love, and of course that resonated with me. And then I think purpose. There's a lot of talk about like finding your purpose in life, and I knew that I had a purpose, and that I knew that I was connected to something bigger than me. And that message really resonated with me, and I just believe it with all of my heart.
Okay,
Yeah.
So what message, for as long as you can remember, didn't resonate with you, and you maybe, like, take us to the first moment that you maybe questioned your faith a little bit, like you were like, I don't know if I agree with what is being said here.
I got you. I don't know if I could like come up with a certain moment, but I definitely felt like, and this was completely unintentional, I think, on other people's parts, but I definitely felt judged a lot. Like, there's right and wrong, and if you don't do what's right, then you're wrong, and there's a part of you that's bad, and that bad part needs to be fixed. And that's kind of like an overarching, and this is 100% my perception. This is like how I took it away, and that was because of that, and I believe that with all of my heart. Like, I fully believe that. So that kind of set me up to, I didn't realize at the time, but I lived in fear of being bad. I did not want to be bad. And then when and that's called living in sin. And so when you live in sin, you're separated from God. And like, that's the last thing in the world that I wanted. I did not want to be separated from God, because hey, there's a Love's gas station. We love Love's.
Okay, so this is really actually kind of ironic. So the message you resonate with the most is love.
Yeah.
The message that you had the biggest issue with was judgment and right from wrong. And then here you are in high school and you start to have these very wrong feelings associated with how you love. So immediately, like, your favorite message and your least favorite message are like duking it out.
Yes, the tension of my life.
Okay.
Yes, 100%.
Major paradox.
You see the problem.
Yeah. All right. So then from that moment of figuring that out, then you're still you're still in the church world.
Mm-hmm.
So how did that, like, paradox start to play out in your mind?
Like, how did I live it out?
Yeah, like, how did you, or did you just completely ignore the kind of the realization that maybe you were attracted to women because of it's bad, you're going to be judged? Or did you find yourself trying to justify or poke holes in the logic of the church to allow yourself to be you? Like, did you fight it? Did you just, like, how did that all play out?
I got you. I think at first, like, whenever I finally gave in to those feelings, it was being connected, like, in that way. I felt what it was like to feel like being in love, like that feeling for the first time. So to me, it was amazing. It was like the best feeling ever to feel that type of connection with somebody.
Right.
So I think I separated church and what I had been taught to believe from what I was actually experiencing. I would just separate it. So I would, like, literally not think about it. I would try not to think about it and just enjoy the moment and, like,
so immediately you kind of cut out a part of yourself and put it over here.
100%. Yeah, that's a great way to say it.
Okay. All right, so we're going to table that, but we're going to get back to that. So
you're a good interviewer. I like it.
So your family's also part of the church?
Yes. Oh yeah. Hey, Mom and Dad.
Yep.
Hey.
So tell me about your relationship with your, so you have mom, dad, and brother.
Correct.
Okay, so how's your relationship with your brother? We'll start with this one first.
Jared? Oh my God. So, well, I'd answer that question a lot different, like, depending on when you ask me. So
okay, let's go back to now we're in this, like, turmoil part of your life, like, growing up in church, all great. Oh, whoa, I realized something that doesn't fit. How is your relationship with your brother during this kind of paradoxical time?
Jared and I have a great relationship. We don't talk deep. We don't go, like, on deep levels very much. So he was
Which
there.
Made it, like, a safe place.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Jared actually was the first person I told in my family. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And tell me about your parents.
Like how I told them?
No. Like, or how are they as people? Like, describe them.
They're amazing. I love my parents. So I kind of, like, this makes me, if I was just really honest, I don't even, yeah, I do. That's the point of all of this.
Don't mind.
I don't really want to, I hate talking about this,
I know.
if I was honest. So it's hard for me to talk about because what was then and what is now are completely different.
Right. So we'll start with what was then, and we'll talk about what was now, what is now, because there's no negativity and you're happy and everything is good.
Yeah.
You're pursuing a dream. This is awesome. But at that point,
so when I was growing up, there was just a lot of tension. I felt like a lot of tension in my house, and most of the tension was between me and my dad.
Mm-hmm.
So he was super supportive. He was, like, at every single one of my ball games.
you play softball.
I played softball and basketball.
Okay.
And he came to everything and always there, like, always provided for me. Like, I got a new car when I was a junior in high school, you know. I wonder how this is looking on camera.
Yeah, I don't know.
Awesome. Sunlight coming in. But, like, there would be these great moments, and then there would be moments where, you know, he was very angry, and I was terrified. Like, I was just really scared of doing something wrong or, like, not being good enough. Is
because
kind of how I felt.
Angry.
Yeah, and not because of me, but there was I don't know, it seemed like he would have triggers, and some of those triggers were because of me and some were not. You know what I'm saying?
So now you have this very real at home added element of your already fear of doing the wrong thing.
Oh yeah.
Because now they're like, if you did the wrong thing, which was wrong, in church or whatever, then there was also the element of pissing your dad off.
Yeah. I did not want to make him mad.
Okay, why did you not want it? Other than the normal, I don't want to disappoint my parents.
Yeah.
Why were you so afraid of getting him mad?
Because it would be taken to like a level that would scare me, like physically.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. When did that start? How old were you?
I was really young.
Okay. So
Like in kindergarten. I mean, for example, I would like be writing on, like I was doing homework on a table and like I didn't have a placemat down or something and it scratched the table underneath, and I just like he would get angry about that, and then as a little girl, you don't want
right
to make your dad angry, so then I just remember being very like scared.
So that maybe actually was the first, or that probably escalated the fear of right from wrong and doing wrong. So then, because that happened very young, and then you learn more about church and right from wrong, and so then that's this just added element of do the right thing, be who you're supposed to be.
Oh, yeah. I've never really thought about it like that, but yeah, I can see that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
So now we're back to, I guess, high school. And you've carved out a chunk of yourself that you don't want to deal with because it's bad.
Well, I mean, to go back to what you just said, that's why I kept it hidden from my parents.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that.
Just the fear. Of talking about it. And saying,
Okay.
Yeah.
How long? All right. So then, how long, or how did you start to even close that divide?
Between my parents?
No, between you and the part of yourself that you had decided to just ignore, like your sexuality.
I never closed it until probably 2 years ago. So I'm 37 now. So I never attempted to close that part of me. Like, I guess as far as a resolution, or the way that I tried to close that is like just by fixing myself. Like,
Okay.
don't feel that way. And so I literally would do everything that the Bible says to do. So I fasted. There'd be weeks where I wouldn't eat food. Literally, like that's not exaggerating. I wanted to be whole so bad, and I just wanted to be right and like do the right thing. That I did everything that was instructed in the Bible for me to do, to like in order to receive healing or receive purity or whatever. And so I would like fast and I prayed. Oh my gosh, you can go back in my journals and read like heal me from this, and I guess, and I would tithe. Like I would literally give money and like write on the back of my envelope like healing from homosexuality or whatever.
Okay.
So like I would like literally like sow seeds in order to get like a return in that. And I cut off every relationship that I got in. I would cut it off because I wanted to do the right thing.
Right.
By me and by them.
Okay.
So like I sacrificed all of it. And I think the final straw was I went to a Christian counseling, like a retreat center it's very remote, and I basically lived there for 3 years, like trying to fix myself. Yeah.
All right. So how did you? Because clearly that didn't work. Because you couldn't be fixed. There's nothing wrong with you. But at what point did you start to realize this isn't working? Like how was that? How did that bubble up?
Yeah, so after I moved to, somebody almost hit us. Don't worry about it, we're good. After I moved to Florida, I felt that I was fixed, and I literally was like, I'm gonna meet a nice guy down here. It's like a completely different place. I'm gonna get married, I'm gonna have kids, have a normal life.
So in your mind, you were fixed.
I was. 100%. 100%. So, and I spent 3 years remote, like literally not really connected to anybody.
Right.
So when when I moved to Florida, I was just like, okay, I'm good. And
you moved to Florida right out of the retreat place?
I stayed at home maybe for 3 months.
Okay.
Until I got a job.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it was a super.
Wow, that's kind of it's a little bit ballsy. It's like you're in this remote, like getting fixed Christian community, and then you're not even gonna go back to like a comfort area. You're gonna go to a whole new world.
Knowing no one. Like, well, there were a couple of people that I knew in Jacksonville, but yeah.
Talk about really testing yourself.
No kidding. Yeah, what was I doing?
I don't know.
So anyway, I moved to Florida, moved to Jacksonville, played church softball, and got connected to like a good Christian community in Jacksonville, and then started playing church softball, and then a girl that I played church softball with, and I started, she expressed that she had feelings for me, and then I immediately felt that in return for her, but I was like, no, you just spent all of this time going through this healing process, and then it was like, this is just a test, and so the more that I like cut her off, basically. We were together for a couple of months, but then I was just like, I can't do this, and then like I had time alone to myself, because then a lot of my friends that I did connect to, like in the church, stopped talking to me, because I was being honest about how I felt. I was like, I don't know why I continue to feel this way, but I do, and I've tried everything.
Okay, so this is interesting. So you come to Florida, you're fixed.
Yeah.
Make new friends and stuff. Once again, woman that you're attracted to, only this time you didn't hide it. You told people.
That
Why?
is the first time.
Like, what was the difference?
Because I had come to the end of my rope. Like, I had tried just fixing it, and I literally have done absolutely everything I know to do to fix this thing. Like,
so was that part of it, maybe asking for help? Like, I've done everything I can myself, and then now it's like, I'm going to start telling people because maybe somebody else will have an answer? Maybe, yeah. Like, I just was tired of, like, pretending. I was tired of pretending, right,
I guess. And then, so whenever this, even to myself, I don't even think I was being real with myself a lot of times. So, but you know what's interesting is during that time that I was by myself, and so I had cut myself off from the girl I was attracted to, then all of my Christian friends were like, hey, we're here for you, in the sense that they were like sending me scriptures and like, come back this way, but like as long as you walk that way, you're gonna be on your own, kind of thing, right? So, but I had this moment where here I am in this new city that I really don't know a lot of people except for the Christian friends that I connected to. So I was alone for like a couple of months, and I was reading books and just searching for myself, and like for probably without any outside influence, which anybody externally talking to me. I had a couple of people, but really I was listening to my inner voice this time, and like actually trying to connect with God, just me and God, and like not really hearing from anyone else. And that's when I got real, and I read this book about grace, and it was just talking about how trusting yourself and trusting that inner voice, because God is in you. And for the first time in my life, I think that was the biggest misconception of what I've been taught, is God is external. And it was like always like praying for God to come, or praying for the Holy Spirit to come, and I was always like waiting on him to come, kind of, and I think what happened to me in that moment was like, no, like he is in me, and I think
so therefore any deep voice in you
is also the voice of God coming from within myself. And it was in that moment that I actually felt that, and then I learned it wasn't until later that I learned that that's what that was. You know what I mean?
Okay, so that's interesting, because you did spend 3 years at like a Christian retreat, spending all this time healing and getting more connected to God, and then you come out and now you're saying essentially you maybe did feel more connected to God, but maybe in a different way.
In a different way.
Than you originally intended to.
Right. The retreat center it really did help me in a lot of ways. I think it brought a lot of healing between me and my dad that I wouldn't have gotten otherwise. Taught me how to live very simply, like you don't need what you think you need. And I think the only thing about the retreat center was that I still was confused about my identity.
Right.
And when I say identity, like sexuality is only a part of that.
Right.
Like I am so much more than who I'm attracted to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, but I think that was the part that I still left confused about from. The Christian Retreat Center did serve a lot of purpose in so many other areas of like healing from other hurts, you know what I mean? But not necessarily that.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So good did come out of it.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So this time you start to listen to the voice in your head or in your gut,
down here,
in your spirit, in your heart, wherever, that's saying this is okay. That's saying this is okay. And so then what did you do?
I think it was more like let go and trust. Like it's okay. Like I just kept feeling like it's just be you. And you know what? I've never done that. Never. I've always strived to be right. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Or strive to be
do good or do
100%. Like I spent a lot of my life
not trying to not make anybody mad, not rock any boats.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was the first time that I was like, the one thing that I haven't tried is letting go. Surrender, it would be like a Christian term. Right. But like that's the one thing that I haven't tried in this area of my life. So I was like, you know what? I trust that God's grace and His love is big enough that I'm gonna let go and see what happens.
Just wanted to say thank you for listening. If you actually want to watch this interview, it is on YouTube. You can go to my website, yadigna.com, yadigna.com. You can watch there, and Casey and I will be recording a new episode for this podcast this week, so can't wait to be back in action with her, and hope you have a good week. Please excuse my cold, a little raspy over here.